The moment she stepped through the door, she said, "I'll live here. But on one condition, tell your son to stay away from me. Don't talk to me, and definitely don't fall for me." My mom had just brought home Scarlet Reed, the scholarship student she decided to sponsor. Her words froze all three of us, my parents and me. And in that instant, I knew. Scarlet was just like me. She had been reborn. The first time this happened, in my previous life, I fell for her the moment my mom introduced her. Scarlet was this diamond in the rough, a breathtaking beauty with a mysterious aura that drew me in. As the heir to the Cole family fortune, I decided to finally take life seriously. I used every resource, pulled every string, and poured every dollar I had into her dream. I made Scarlet Reed a star, the biggest name in Hollywood, and when she finally stood on that Oscar stage, holding the golden statue, the first thing she did was announce her engagement. Not to me, but to her high school sweetheart, Caleb Vance. Soon after, the tabloids unearthed our long history together. She painted me as a spoiled rich kid seeking revenge after rejection. To silence the rumors for good, she made sure I'd never speak again. I still remember the fire, the searing pain, the smoke filling my lungs. I died without understanding how someone could be so cruel, and then I woke up. Back in my senior year of high school, just like before, my mom was bringing home a scholarship student. "Ethan, honey," she said gently. "This is Scarlet Reed. She'll be staying with us for a while. She's part of the family now. So treat her like a little sister, okay?" There she stood, a girl in worn-out clothes and patched jeans. But even that couldn't hide her elegance. She was stunning, effortlessly graceful. And just like last time, she didn't look nervous at all. Her eyes landed on me, and she frowned. "Mrs. Cole," she said, turning to my mother, "I'll live here, but tell your son to keep his distance. Don't talk to me, and don't develop a crush on me." We were all speechless. My mom forced a shaky laugh. "Scarlet, dear, is there some kind of misunderstanding?" Scarlet shook her head calmly. "No, I'm just being realistic. I know I can be distracting to guys. You see it too, don't you?" My mom, bless her heart, nodded before Scarlet linked arms with her and smiled sweetly. In my past life, she had been shy and gentle when she first arrived. But now, seeing her so composed, I knew the truth. She was back too. Fine, I thought. If we both get a second chance, then this time, she'll learn what cruelty really means. Her fake politeness was just a mask. Back then, she played the fragile, innocent girl, and I fell for it. I poured everything into her career, and it destroyed me. She used me, then burned me alive. This time, I wouldn't make the same mistake. "Mom," I said coolly, "it seems our guest isn't happy with the arrangement. Maybe we should find someone else. No point in wasting the scholarship spot." Scarlet's calm expression faltered. She knew what I was implying. Without my family, without my company's money, she would have been nothing. Just a poor girl struggling to survive. She blurted out, "That's not what I meant." "You're twisting my words." But we both knew the truth. Without me, there would be no stardom, no awards, no glamour. Just a life of dead-end jobs and shattered dreams. This time, things would be different. The next morning, I was heading out for school when she darted past me and jumped into the front passenger seat of the car. Even our driver looked confused. I smirked. Making things too easy for her last time didn't help. Scarlet glanced at me through the mirror. "Ethan," she said coldly, "I told you yesterday, don't talk to me. Don't even think about getting close." I almost laughed. "This is my car," I said evenly. "I don't do ride shares." "Get out!" Her expression cracked. She hadn't expected that. In our past life, I treated her like royalty. I bought her cars, traveled the world with her, spent everything I had to make her happy. Now, watching her scowl and slam the door felt satisfying. At school, she wasted no time making a move. In the middle of the senior quad, surrounded by hundreds of students, Scarlet Reed confessed loudly, "Caleb, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend?" The crowd gasped. Caleb Vance, basketball captain, the school's golden boy, stood frozen. I couldn't help but laugh inwardly. In our past life, she'd chosen me for my money and status. but deep down, it was always Caleb she loved. Back then, I thought my devotion had finally won her over. Every promise, every smile, and all lies. She said she'd marry me when she reached the top. She kept her word, in a way. When she finally got there, she announced her engagement. To him. This time, things would be different. Because now, I wasn't the same fool she once burned alive. After the announcement, she cried in my arms. She said she thought what we had was love, but that over time she realized it was only friendship. She promised to repay me for everything I'd done for her, but she couldn't marry me. 10 years. That's how long I'd been by her side, from the day we graduated high school until that moment. I could have lived a quiet, comfortable life, inheriting my family's wealth and title, but I didn't. I ran myself into the ground for her. I pulled every string I could find, financed screenplays, connected her with top directors, and protected her from the darker side of the industry. I made enemies in every corner of Hollywood for her sake. I schmoozed and negotiated until the stress gave me a bleeding ulcer. And even then, I checked myself out of the hospital just to keep working for her. And when she finally stood at the top of the world, all I got was a gentle smile and the words, "You're a good friend, Ethan." I forced myself to smile, wished her well, and convinced myself it was time to move on, to refocus on my family's business, on my life. But then one night my phone rang, an unknown number. It was Scarlet. She sounded desperate, said she needed to see me. It was urgent. When we met, she told me that a paparazzo had snapped photos of her entering and leaving my penthouse. Her rivals had gotten hold of them, threatening to expose that I'd bankrolled her entire career. She said we needed to talk privately, to figure out a plan. She asked me to meet her in the mountains, at a secluded cabin. When I arrived, she greeted me with a soft smile and poured me a cup of tea. I took a sip, and then the world went black. When I opened my eyes again, I was tied to a chair. The smell of gasoline filled the air. Scarlet and Caleb stood before me, calm, almost serene. Caleb grinned as he tilted a can, letting the liquid splash across the floor and onto my legs. "To protect Scarlet's career," he said, "you have to disappear." Before lighting the match, Scarlet wiped away a fake tear. "I'm sorry, Ethan," she whispered. "I have no choice. You know too much. If this gets out, my career is over." I struggled against the ropes, fury burning through me. "Scarlet, are you even human? Do you have any idea who you owe everything to?" Caleb's smirk deepened. "Don't flatter yourself, Ethan. Scarlet's a genius. She would have made it without you." He kissed her cheek. "Let's finish this, honey. No loose ends." She nodded. Caleb lit a cigarette, took a drag, and flicked it toward me. Flames roared to life. After that, the world forgot about Ethan Cole. My mother reported me missing, but the case went cold. She died not long after, her heart broken beyond repair. My father, crushed by grief and with our company under siege from a mysterious rival, ended his own life soon after. Because of Scarlet Reed, I lost not only my life, but my parents. And the entire Cole legacy. Maybe even God couldn't stand it, because he gave me a second chance. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I disagreed. If you want to truly destroy someone, you have to let them go mad first. That night, I was in my room when the sound of engines shattered the quiet. I went to the window and saw a group of guys on roaring, tricked-out motorcycles idling at the gate. One of them hopped off, pulled off her helmet and shook out her hair. Scarlet. She waved to Caleb, then jogged back to give him a quick peck on the cheek. The other guys cheered. "No way, Scarlet," one of them shouted. "You actually live here?" I could see the awe in their eyes as they looked toward our mansion. I heard even a shoebox in this neighborhood costs like $2 million. I stepped back from the curtain, disgust curling in my gut. Scarlet giggled, feigning embarrassment. "Oh, my parents are super strict. They don't like strangers in the house." "Hey, Caleb's not a stranger," one of the boys teased. "He's basically your fiancé. His birthday's this weekend. Let's throw a huge party at your place." "Yeah," another chimed in. "Let's see how the rich live." Scarlet paused, pretending to think. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll ask my parents and see what they say." The boys erupted into cheers, and from my window, I saw it all. I wanted to slap myself. How had I ever fallen for her act? She wasn't kind. She wasn't innocent. She was a performer, and I'd been her biggest fool. For the next few days, Scarlet came home late every night. The entire school was buzzing with rumors about her and Caleb. She didn't even try to hide it, walking hand in hand with him through the halls, smiling like she'd already won. Then another rumor started spreading, that Scarlet was secretly from a rich family. Someone posted a photo of her entering our gated community, and another of her stepping out of a Rolls-Royce. The story of the mysterious heiress, falling for the school's bad boy, became the biggest gossip of the semester. A few days later, my mom and I were having breakfast when Scarlet came downstairs. "Good morning, Scarlet," Mom greeted her warmly. "Come have some breakfast." Scarlet mumbled something, hesitated, and finally spoke. "Mrs. Cole, I wanted to ask, a friend of mine's birthday is this weekend. Would it be okay if we had a small party here?" I looked up, almost laughing at her nerve. Mom blinked in surprise. "A party? Oh dear. Your uncle and I aren't fond of crowds, and your father needs rest on weekends. I don't think that's a good idea." Scarlet's face fell, but she pushed again. "Please, Mrs. Cole, just for a few hours. I already told them I'd ask." Mom sighed and shook her head. "It's just not the right time, honey. Your father comes home exhausted. You can tell your friends you'll celebrate another day." Scarlet's jaw tightened. She snatched a glass of milk, drank it in one go, and turned to leave. "Aren't you going to eat?" Mom asked. "Not hungry?" "Scarlet, wait," Mom called after her. "You're in your senior year now. It's a critical time. You should really be focusing on your studies." Scarlet stopped, her voice icy. "What are you trying to say?" "I've heard you've been seeing someone," Mom said gently. "I just want you to remember your priorities." "You don't have to say anything else," Scarlet snapped. "I'm grateful for your help, but that doesn't mean you get to control my life. I might need support, but I don't need to be micromanaged." My mom was stunned. I couldn't help but chuckle. "Mom," I said lightly, "remember what you taught me? Respect other people's choices. Let go of the need to save everyone. Mind your own business." Scarlet turned toward me, eyes flashing with hatred. "Don't you dare patronize me, Ethan. So what if you're rich? I've lived that life. It's not all it's cracked up to be. And this time I'm not letting Caleb go." I almost laughed in her face. "Then maybe you should move out. We'll keep paying your tuition, but you can leave today. I'll even have Franklin help you pack." For a second, she looked genuinely shocked. Then she smirked. "You can't kick me out. Your mom invited me to stay here." The audacity of this girl was unbelievable. But of course, a mansion with staff and luxury versus a dorm room. Easy choice. "That's enough, both of you," Mom interrupted softly. "You'll be late for school. She was too kind." But kindness wouldn't work with Scarlet Reed. In our past life, on Caleb's 18th birthday, Scarlet had given herself to him, a story Caleb later told me himself, pride shining in his eyes. Good. This time, I'd make sure his birthday was one they'd never forget. That night, I booked a weekend getaway at a luxury resort and suggested a family trip. Dad resisted at first, but Mom convinced him. "It's sweet of Ethan to think of us," she said. "You work so hard, dear. A short trip will do us good." He finally agreed. The next morning, as I got into the car, Scarlet once again slid into the passenger seat. "Franklin," I said casually, "we're going on a trip this weekend. You can check if any of the staff want to come too. We'll book extra tickets." "Yes, sir," he replied. I caught Scarlet's reflection in the mirror. There was something sharp in her eyes, a flicker of suspicion or maybe fear. Saturday morning came. I told my parents I wasn't feeling well and urged them to go on ahead. As soon as they left, I picked up my phone and called a few friends. It was time to start the real party. "Ethan, why are we eating out?" Leo asked, cutting into his steak with a frown. "Your family's chef makes the best damn steak in the city." "It's about the atmosphere," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Besides, after this, we're heading back to my place for a 5-on-5 Valorant tournament. You know my house has a pro-level gaming room. That sealed the deal." He laughed, shaking his head. "You're ridiculous." I smiled faintly, excusing myself to the restroom. Once inside, I pulled out my phone and opened the live feed from the security cameras at home. And there she was, Scarlet. She'd brought Caleb and his biker crew over, and they were running around like they owned the place. One of them had even broken into my dad's wine cellar, waving around a bottle of Romane Conti like it was cheap beer. "Guys, look what I found," he shouted, fumbling with the corkscrew as everyone cheered. My phone buzzed. It was Franklin, our butler. "Master Ethan," he said, trying to sound calm. "Miss Reed's friends are about to open one of your father's prized wines. Should I stop them?" I'd told him earlier to call me directly with any issues, not my parents. I stared at the screen for a second, then smiled. "It's fine, Franklin. Let them have fun. A little wine won't hurt anyone." When I looked up at my reflection in the mirror, I saw a calm, almost detached smile on my face. "Don't hold back, Scarlet," I whispered. "Don't you dare disappoint me." After lunch, I took my friends back home. On the camera feed, I could see Scarlet and Caleb heading upstairs, to my bedroom. I doubted they were going up there to discuss college applications. I had Franklin guide the rest of their biker friends out to the patio, just to keep things from getting too chaotic. When everything was set, I turned to my friends. "All right, guys. The gaming room's upstairs," I said casually, leading the way. I threw open my bedroom door, and there they were, Scarlet and Caleb, tangled together on my bed, froze like deer in headlights. My friends stood behind me, their jaws practically hitting the floor. Scarlet screamed and scrambled for the sheets, her face turning scarlet in more ways than one. Leo frowned. "Dude, why is the transfer student in your house? And why is Caleb here doing that?" I raised my hands in mock innocence. "I have no idea." One of my friends, quicker than the rest, already had his phone out. "Should I get a few shots of this?" Caleb shot him a murderous glare. "The hell you will. Get out." That set Leo off. "Who the hell do you think you are, yelling at us in Ethan's house?" "This is breaking and entering," Caleb shouted, trying to sound authoritative. I smiled coldly. "So you know what that means? Good. Saves me the trouble of explaining it." I turned to Scarlet, who was hiding behind him. "You've got some nerve, bringing people here for a party. If you like him that much, why didn't you just get a hotel room?" Caleb's confidence faltered. He turned to her. "Wait, what's going on? I thought this was your house." Scarlet glared at me, her face twisted with fury. "Nice try, Ethan. You think this will make me want you?" "Dream on," I laughed. "Scarlet, are you seriously this delusional? If you're sick, go see a doctor. Stop embarrassing yourself." Caleb straightened his shirt and started for the door. "I'm done." "Get off me," he muttered when Scarlet tried to stop him. He shoved her aside and stormed off. She stumbled, fell, and pointed a trembling finger at me. "Don't think this will work, Ethan. I wouldn't pick you if you were the last man on earth." Leo crossed his arms. "Lady, what guy would want a girl who fools around in someone else's house? You're delusional. And wait, aren't you one of the scholarship students the Coles sponsor? What are you even doing here?" A wave of murmurs rippled through the group. The girl they thought was a rich heiress was, in fact, a charity case. "But I saw her get out of a Rolls-Royce last week," someone said. "That's Ethan's car," Leo replied helpfully. Everyone turned to me. "Wait, why was she living with you?" I sighed. "Her mom passed away. Her dad's a drunk who skipped town. She had nowhere to go, so my mom took her in. I guess she got the wrong idea and started saying weird things." Scarlet's face twisted in rage. "You're lying, Ethan. You were obsessed with me," Leo snorted. "You've watched too many movies. You're not the main character here." That was the final blow. Scarlet completely lost it. "Get out! All of you get out!" Leo smirked. "Look who's talking, telling the owner of the house to leave. Your audacity could build a fortress." When my parents returned from their trip and heard what happened, they were furious. Scarlet was told to pack her things and move into the school dorms immediately. The day she left, she walked past me with her head held high. "You're kicking me out now," she sneered. "In 3 months, you'll be on your knees begging me to come back." She was confident, because a famous director was casting his new film. What she didn't know was that in our last life, the only reason she'd gotten her big break was because I had pulled strings behind the scenes. The studio head was a close friend of my mother's. I'd practically handed her that role. Not this time. I founded a small production company and flew out to a remote town in Appalachia, where I found a girl named Maya Frost. With a few calls, I got her into the same audition Scarlet was gunning for. Maya was everything Scarlet wasn't: talented, magnetic, real. The director, irritated at first to hear about another Nepo kid, changed his tune the second he met Maya. She was exactly what he'd been looking for. My mother worried about my sudden burst of ambition, thinking I was trying too hard to prove myself, but after some relentless persuasion, she funded my new venture. I brought Maya into my school and helped her settle in. The day I drove her to the studio for her first shoot, we saw a commotion at the gate. Scarlet was there, screaming at a production assistant about being unfairly cut from auditions. When she saw me step out of the car with Maya, her face froze. Then she rushed over. "Ethan, what are you doing here? Who is she?" I didn't answer. Maya followed me silently, pulling her suitcase. Scarlet's eyes widened with realization. You stole my role!" Maya gave her a calm, almost amused smile. "We're both auditioning, Scarlet, but you can drop the act. If it wasn't for Ethan helping you last time, you wouldn't have even made the top 8. Scarlet's face went pale. Her lips trembled as she looked between us. Then she snapped, lunging at Maya, hand raised to slap her. I caught her wrist midair. "Ethan," she said softly, her voice changing instantly, almost seductive. "You still have a chance. Get rid of her and I'll be with you. This is your last shot." "You're insane," I said, releasing her hand. I pulled Maya past her and into the studio. As we walked, Maya whispered, "Sometimes I really envy her." "I know what you mean," I said quietly. "You're reborn too," she smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I'm not going back to my old agency. I think we'll work better together." After her public meltdown, Scarlet became desperate. I'd see her hanging around my classroom pretending to bump into me. She could have focused on her studies, lived a normal life, maybe even found a decent guy. But once you've tasted fame and luxury, it's hard to go back. In our last life, she'd been a national icon. Now, stripped of that illusion, she was just a girl trying to claw her way back into the spotlight. And that made my revenge all the easier. Scarlet stood before me, her chin lifted, eyes darting between defiance and desperation. "I've thought about it," she began, her tone too calm to be sincere. "And I still can't be with you." I raised an eyebrow. What was she on about now? Seeing my impatient look, she hurried on. "But I can let you be my big brother." For a second, I thought I'd misheard her. She folded her arms, as if she were offering something precious. "Consider that your compensation. I'm not breaking up with Caleb, but in return, you'll get me roles in a few blockbuster films." I stared at her for a long, quiet moment, then shook my head slowly. "Scarlet," I said flatly, "go find a storm drain, stick your head in, and let some of that water out." Her mouth fell open. "What on earth?" I continued, disgusted. "Makes you think I'm still into you?" Her lips trembled. You mean you don't love me anymore? Get lost." I shoved my hands into my pockets and turned away. "Ethan, don't be an ungrateful bastard," she shrieked after me. "There are other ways I can deal with you." I paused for half a second, then kept walking. I had planned to wait until college to deal with her. But if she wanted to accelerate the timeline, so be it. That night, I had Franklin track down her father, Rick Reed. The man who staggered into our courtyard the next afternoon looked like every bad decision come to life. A beer belly, stained tank top, cigarette dangling from cracked lips. "You the coal kid?" he slurred. I nodded. He flicked his ash onto our lawn. "Heard you were sponsoring my girl, paying for her school, giving her a place to live. Thought I'd come check on her." "Oh, Mr. Reed," I said, pretending surprise. "Yes, Scarlet was staying with us for a while, but she moved out." He frowned. "Moved where?" I shook my head. "You'd have to ask her." That angered him. "You took her in and kicked her out?" "She's just a kid. It's not safe for a girl out there." "You can ask her about the details," I said calmly. "We just moved her into the school dorms. She's perfectly safe. It's just that—" I hesitated, putting on a troubled expression. From what I hear, she's not been staying there. Apparently she's living with her boyfriend. Boyfriend? What damn boyfriend? He roared. I sighed, shaking my head. If you insist on seeing for yourself... He bit the bait without hesitation. Take me to them. I called Franklin, and soon we were driving to the rundown part of town, where Scarlet and Caleb's little hideout was. The building was half finished, half abandoned. On the way up the stairs, I casually picked up a steel pipe from the floor. Rick narrowed his eyes. What's that for? It's dark, I said deadpan, using it as a walking stick. When we reached the top floor, the air reeked of mildew and teenage stupidity. A makeshift camp had been set up, complete with a tent, and from inside the tent came sounds that made Rick's blood boil. A vein bulged in his temple. I dropped the pipe with a loud clang. He picked it up without hesitation and stormed forward. The tent flap flew open. Dad, what are you doing here? Scarlet gasped, pale as chalk. Caleb's eyes went wide. When he saw the pipe in Rick's hand, he bolted. You touched my daughter, you little punk. I'll kill you! Rick bellowed. Caleb was a high school kid, a wannabe tough guy. He didn't stand a chance against a man like Rick. The pipe came down again and again, until Caleb's face was a bloody mess. Fueled by panic, Caleb charged at him, trying to push him off the roof. Rick sidestepped. Caleb stumbled forward, arms flailing, and fell. 7 stories. The thud that followed was sickening. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Rick dropped the pipe and ran. When the paramedics arrived, Caleb was somehow still alive. The hospital later confirmed what I already knew. He'd broken his spine. Paralyzed for life, I offered my sincerest condolences and left the scene quietly. Later, I visited the hospital. Caleb barely looked human anymore, bandaged and motionless. At least my death had been quick, I thought. His will be eternal. Honestly, I hoped he lived a long, long life. I even paid his medical bills myself. From down the hall came the sharp crack of a slap. Then another. I turned and saw Scarlet on the floor, a red handprint blooming on her cheek. Caleb's mother stood over her, her voice like venom. It wasn't my fault, Scarlet cried. It was my dad, go after him. Another slap. If you hadn't seduced my son, he never would have jumped. You're going to marry him and take care of him for the rest of his life. No, Scarlet sobbed. I have school. I want to be an actress. Please, actress? Mrs. Vance spat. You won't even get into community college. If you won't marry him, then pay up. $3 million should do, $3 million. Scarlet and her father couldn't have scraped together $3,000. Rick was probably halfway to Mexico by now. So, once again, it was me, the benevolent Ethan Cole, who called the police. Scarlet left the hospital under their protection, humiliated but alive. The next day, Caleb's parents showed up at our school screaming. The school board had no choice but to expel her. She came running to my classroom, eyes wild. Ethan, please. I'll be your girlfriend. Just help me pay the $3 million. I'll pay you back, I swear. I put down my pen and looked up slowly. Why would I help you? How are you even going to make $3 million? Win the lottery? Tears streamed down her face. This is just a game to you, isn't it? You're playing hard to get. I know you still love me. I stood and walked over, my voice low and steady. Last time you and Caleb burned me alive. You really expect me to help you now? Her eyes went wide with horror. What are you? Are you a ghost? I raised an eyebrow. What do you think? She stammered. You were reborn too. Took her long enough to figure it out. She scrambled forward and grabbed my leg, sobbing. I was wrong. It was Caleb's idea. We can just forget it. Start over, please. I pried her hands off and turned away. So what if I had you killed before? She screamed after me. You're fine now, aren't you? Can't you just let it go? She came to my house a few more times after that, but Franklin always turned her away. A year passed. Maya's film became a phenomenon, one of those once-in-a-decade blockbusters. She became a household name, praised for her beauty and talent, and she balanced fame with school effortlessly. 20 million followers in under 2 years. Everything Scarlet once had. Everything she lost. One quiet afternoon, I visited Caleb at the long-term care center. I barely recognized him. Scruffy, pale, his muscles wasted away. I stayed less than a minute. The director hurried over. "Mr. Cole." "My apologies. We're short-staffed. I'll have someone bathe him right away." I waved him off. "No need. You're doing fine." And they were. Exactly as I'd arranged. Enough care to keep him alive, not enough to make it comfortable. "You're a saint, Mr. Cole," the man said earnestly. "His parents don't even visit anymore, and yet you pay for everything. Truly a man with a heart of gold." I smiled faintly. Just doing what's right. Later, I met Maya at a coffee shop to discuss our next project. We'd barely sat down when shouting erupted from the next booth. The voice was unmistakable. Scarlet. She was arguing with another woman, calm, cold, and dressed in expensive clothes. "Miss Reed," the woman said evenly, "do you know why my husband and I are separated?" Scarlet blinked. "Why?" "Because he has AIDS." Scarlet's world shattered right there. The woman explained that she was waiting for her husband to die so she could inherit everything. As his mistress, Scarlet would get nothing, except maybe a hospital bill. "Get tested," the woman added, and left. Scarlet stumbled out of the booth, pale and shaking. When her eyes found me and Maya sitting nearby, she froze. "Are you following me?" she shrieked. Maya looked at her with pity. "You should probably see a doctor." Scarlet hurled her purse at us. We both ducked. "It's all your fault, Maya," she screamed. "You stole my role. You stole my life." Heads turned. People whispered. Then someone recognized Maya. Within seconds, the crowd swarmed our table for photos and autographs. Scarlet was shoved to the edge of the crowd, shouting incoherently. "What's so great about you?" she screamed, her face twisting. "You're just an actress. I was famous once. Someone muttered, 'Who is this psycho?' "I'm an Oscar winner," she shrieked, her voice cracking. "You're all trash." Someone pushed her. She fell, then stumbled to her feet, her face swollen and wild. And then she was gone, swallowed by her own madness. Months later, Franklin told me she'd gone back to her dying hometown. She fell ill soon after and was placed in a government-funded care facility. The same one where Caleb lay rotting away. Poetic, really. And then, please welcome our winner for Best Actress, Maya Frost. Applause thundered through the room. I blinked, pulled back into the present. The spotlight bathed Maya in gold as she stood on stage, radiant, tears shining in her eyes. After her speech, she looked straight at me. "And tonight," she said softly, "I want to ask my producer, Ethan Cole, for a favor." A murmur rippled through the audience. She smiled. "Give me the chance to take care of you. Let me heal your scars. Will you marry me?" Every camera turned toward me. My heart skipped. Once, twice. I wasn't falling into that trap again. I was about to shake my head when she stepped off the stage, lifted the hem of her gown, and walked straight to me. Leaning close, her perfume brushing against my thoughts, she whispered, "I just got the new season of The Crown." Her lips curved into a teasing smile. "Want to come over and not watch it?" I stared at her, at the fire, the warmth, the life in her eyes. What else could I say? I nodded.